Everyone, welcome to my Expired to Sold web series. If you don't know me already, I'm Paul Salazar at Hilton and Hyland Real Estate, Beverly Hills. We are a premier luxury brokerage here out of the Beverly Hills, greater Los Angeles area. And I specialize in selling properties that were already on the market with another agent from 1 month to up to 3 years. And the agent couldn't sell it for whatever reason. I took over as the new agent and I was able to get it sold. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did to this property here on Yocum. I do it anywhere from the west side all the way to Pasadena, in the Valley, in Beverly Hills. So I cover a pretty wide area for expire or cancel listings, as well as for sell by owners. So I'm going to illustrate exactly what I did to get this property sold and the process that I went through to uncover exactly why I didn't sell. All right. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the business for about 15 years. Started back in 06, right out of college. I've been with Hilton and Hyland since 2009, so 11 years. If you want to check me out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now on TikTok, check me out. We try to provide a lot of great content out there for our viewers. If you have any questions, you can always DM me on any of those platforms. I'm really easy to get a hold of, or you can find my cell phone like you did earlier on the slide, or at the end of the show, you can just give me a call. All right, so let's get right into it. This video is meant for sellers, right, who want to understand what I do as an agent, as well as agents who want to get into selling expireds, and they want to understand what I do in the luxury market to sell these properties. So let's get right into what this property looked like when I took over as the agent. And all these clients, I cold call these clients. So these are all people that I haven't known in the past, right? There's no referrals. They don't know any of my mutual friends. I don't know any of their mutual friends. So it really is a cold lead, and they have to trust me, right? And that's hard, right? But now with my given track record, it's a little bit easier. And this is why I'm making these videos, so that I can show that to them and they can see exactly what I do to get things sold. So this property on Yocum was on the market with two different agents. As you can see, it was on the market for 278 days, almost a full year on the market with no sell. They got no offers. And the sellers were really disappointed. They were going to the East Coast to be closer to their family, and they wanted to sell this house first, right, in order to move. And they just couldn't sell it, right? I spoke with the sellers. I brought in another agent in Pasadena to kind of help me out as well, because I love to partner up with other agents if it's in an area that I don't really focus in. But again, I focus in selling properties that have already been on the market. So it's a very, very niche kind of specialty that I focus on. And what do I do when a client says, yes, come over, let's talk about how you can sell a property? I'm basically like an inspector. I look at the property, I look at the marketing, I look at the price. I try to figure out why it didn't sell. So that's me right there with the big magnifying glass. Trying to figure out what's going on. So for this property here, well, actually for all expired properties, there's three reasons why a property doesn't sell. You have the agent, you have the marketing, and you have price. Most of the time it's going to be marketing or agent. And that's basically like, if it's marketing, it's the agent, right? If it's price, then it may not be the agent. It could be the seller is just not willing to negotiate down the price, or they're not very motivated. At the end of the day, if the agent does everything in their power to market the property, has really nice photos and video and floor plan and the whole suite of marketing that's available to us as agents, and the property doesn't sell, it's probably price, and the seller just isn't really motivated. Or sometimes the agent doesn't even tell the seller that the price is wrong, right? You should be having at least 1 or 2 showings per week for a healthy listing. If you're not getting any showings for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and there's a problem with either marketing or price or the agent. So it's always good to understand that as a seller. If your house has been on the market for a while and you're not getting any showings, then you should talk to your agent about making a change, either with marketing, with photos, with video, with any of the ads, or maybe the price. Maybe the price has to be lowered. All right, so here we go. This house looked like a really small cottage because they didn't use a drone to really get the second story in the back. These sellers bought this house, a long time ago. It was a very small cottage. And what they did is they built out the back of the house. So it's really hard to see from the front unless you're tall like me, or if you had a drone, right? So our photographer used a drone to come up and get a shot of the front of the house with the back to really see how big the property is. Because what the other agents did is they had a shot from the bottom, and all you saw was this really small house, and they were asking a big number, and they're like, why are they asking a big number for such a small house? So we changed the original photo of the house. They didn't have a walkthrough video. I do a walkthrough video for all my listings. Basically, it's like I was on TV as a host, and I tell the viewers what are the big, what are the selling factors of the property, what are like the best things about the property, if it has a pool, has views, if it's a great school district, if it has a great lot, if it's private, if it has ensuite bedrooms, if it has a tennis court, all those things I'm going to be discussing with the audience in my walkthrough videos. So most agents don't do walkthrough videos, but I think it's really important to do a walkthrough video, because otherwise, people are looking at the video and they don't know what they're looking at, right? They're looking at multiple bedrooms, but at least in my videos, my videographer makes sure that whatever I'm talking about, he's shooting in the background, and you can see that while you're looking at the video. So I highly urge you, if you haven't seen my listing videos, go on my YouTube page and take a look at those videos. No aerial photography, which we talked about earlier, showcasing the big lot that this house was in, the backyard, the area, some of the views from some of the bedrooms. No floor plan or site plan, which I think is really important in order for you as the seller not to have a bunch of people in the house that the house doesn't work for. This house was very particular. It had the master bedroom on the first floor. My clients, they already empty nesters, so they didn't want to be going up and down the stairs, right, to go to the bedroom. They built the back of the house, which was like the new section of the house, for themselves, and they thought they were going to live here forever. But plans changed, and they wanted to move to the East Coast to be closer to family. So this house was really meant for the same type of buyer, a buyer that was probably an empty nester and that wanted a downstairs master. And that's the buyer that we ended up finding. So it's important to understand who the buyer is going to be based on, the floor plan, the beds, baths, how big the house is, the location, a lot of things. If the master bedroom was on the second floor, this would have sold to a completely different buyer, right? It probably would have sold to a family with kids, because a family that has young kids does not want to be on the first floor while their kids on their second floor, right? They want to be on the same floor. That's really important for most families. Previous agent did not target the right buyer based on the floor plan, which we already talked about. Insufficient house prep. House was too dark with heavy window coverings. You'll see what we did to this property. When a seller, invites me over to their house and we have a discussion for 15, 20 minutes and we talk about why their property didn't sell, I give them suggestions, right? I give them options. I say, hey, option one, at least for this property, was to get it staged, to paint some of the rooms, to take out all the window coverings. And, option number two would be not to do that, maybe just to paint. Option number three would be don't do anything, leave it the same way. And, and we'll work around that. The sellers picked option one, which was to stage the property, and it paid off. We were able to get it sold for top dollar, and we got multiple offers in a short time period, which I'll show you at the end. So the house was very dark, and you'll see that from the old photos as well. The seller's furniture didn't suit today's buyer. Today's buyer, for the most part, is going to want something a little bit more contemporary. And even if they don't furnish the house with contemporary furniture, they still want to see contemporary furniture when they see the house initially, right? So our clients had very specific furniture to their taste, and it didn't work for all the buyers. So it's really important for whoever you choose is going to be honest with you. Like, I'm always honest with my clients. I said, hey, listen, your property should be staged if you want to get top dollar, or if you don't want to get top dollar, then we can sell it at a price where the seller, sees behind all that. But at the end of the day, most buyers just don't have the creativity that you may assume, right? And listen, I'm the same way, right? If I go to a property and it's the same property and there's one next door, it's the exact same floor plan, same thing, one stage and one isn't, I'm going to fall in love with the one that staged, right? It brings out the emotion in the buyer. So it's really, really important to talk to your agent about that. Paint colors in the rooms were very specific, which I'll show you in a second. All right, so let's talk about here on the left. This is the before photo. On the right is the after photo. In this living room, what we did is we did a full stage. So we brought in contemporary furniture, and you can see how the space is opened up. We also had the fireplace turned on, and we also took out the window coverings, so you can see that there's more natural light coming in. It's just a much more pleasant photo to look at. All right, this here is the master bedroom. This is one of my favorite before and after shots. You can see how this contemporary furniture, how we took out the window coverings, how it looks just like a completely different house. You can see the beautiful foliage of your backyard from the master, which you can't even see from the photo on the left. So they really took our suggestions. They picked the option that I felt was going to get a top dollar, and it definitely did. We got 4 offers, and they sold for a really, really good price. This room here, it was staged kind of similarly, right, to what they had before, but we had it painted, and we took out the window coverings again, and you can see how much brighter this room looks. We also get the best photographers in town as well. I think that's really important. This photographer on the left, I'm not sure, they probably could have brightened up the room a little bit using Photoshop, but our photographers, they know what sells. They know what I like as well. And I'm there during the photo session, really coaching them on what to do, because I'm a perfectionist and I want to make sure that these photos come out great. The photos are really the number one thing for any property. When you're on Zillow, you're on Redfin, Trulia, right? When you're a buyer looking at properties, you're only looking at photos, right? You filter your search based on price, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. But at the end of the day, the reason why you want to go take a look at the property is because the photos really excite you. If you have really bad photos, then you're probably not going to get a lot of exposure on your property. You're not going to get a lot of people through the door. Another thing we do is that we do a carousel. We change the photos every 1 or 2 weeks on all of our listings, and we choose the top 5 or 7 photos, and we change the photos every single week. That way, Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, all those websites that only show the main photo, now they have a new photo to on your property every single week. And now the same buyer that saw it maybe a week ago, that didn't want to show the property, or they didn't want to see the property, they might have seen a great photo of your property now that we have as the main photo. And now they're clicking on the property and they're looking at it, right? So it's a great strategy that most agents don't know, to do. It just we're just manipulating the system, and we're using it to our advantage, right? So it's very good to understand some of these small little things. Here on the left, like I told you from the beginning, there was no drone shot, so you see a small cottage. Here on the right, you see a much bigger estate. You can see the back. We tried to get the drone a little bit higher, but the oak tree didn't let us, unfortunately. But this is the best shot that we could get for the property. You also see a great long driveway, right? On the left, you don't see a driveway. You see a small house. On the right, you see a much, much bigger estate. And again, all these small things make a huge difference when you're trying to sell your house for top dollar. We also do really, really high quality brochures. That's an example of that. Again, we do a walkthrough video. I urge you to go onto my YouTube page and check out, how we, do our walkthrough videos. I think it's really important to do video nowadays. It's probably one of the most important tools to sell a property in 2021. All right, results and the 5-star Zillow review. The results were, we got 4 offers within 7 days. It sold for 98% of list price. We had over 75 potential buyers through our mega open houses. This one sold just before COVID. We had over 12 private showings within the first 2 weeks. And we were able to use the offers to aggressively raise the price up, right? We had I remember the first three offers were about $100,000 less than our asking price, and we couldn't get that. We couldn't get that buyer up. We told the last buyer, the one that came in the highest and actually ended up buying the house, we told them that we had three offers and that they were all very close to asking price. And that's obviously subjective, right? But by using those simple words, this buyer came in very, very close to asking price. Actually, I think he came in at full asking price, and then he negotiated down on some of the repairs that the house needed. So that's why it didn't sell for full ask price. But we did get the offer for full ask price. And then over here, we have our review from Monica and my client, Stuart. Anyway, if you guys want to look at all my reviews on Zillow, they're on Google, feel free to check them out. If you have any questions as a seller or an agent that wants to get into selling expireds, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always easy to get in contact with, and I'm always, here to provide value for both the seller, if you're looking at a change of agents and you're frustrated with the agent you have now, or the agent that wants to make some extra money and wants to understand how to really go from an expired property to a sold property and what that process is like. I'm not talking about what I do for cold calling every single day, spending 2 or 3 hours a day making phone calls. That's the first step. But the next step is setting the appointment, going to the appointment, and really showing the seller how you can rebrand the property, relaunch the property, and get it sold for them. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with me. Have a good one.